Hello, Angela.
Hello, teacher. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm very well. And you?
Fine, fine. Thank you. And you, Roque, how are you today?
Good morning. Fine, because I already can join to the class.
Okay, good. I hope your internet is working well.
Yes, me too.
All right,
Uh,
very good. Okay, so today we are going to be finishing the unit. The only thing that we have left is the TED Talk video and just identify some presentation skills from the video. Um, the class shouldn't take more than like 11:20 or 11:15, so I'm gonna take just a couple of minutes before we go to check what questions you have with what you saw last week, because on Monday is in Monday you have the quizzes. Okay, so we're going to start right now with the TED Talk. Well, actually, we're gonna start with the vocabulary from the TED Talk video. Okay, and then I have these three expressions or three phrases. It says the first one, developing world, the second one, industrialized world, and then we have emerging economies. Okay, what do you think developing world, industrialized world, and emerging economies are? I want you to give me your opinion.
In developing world,
Hmm.
I don't know. I think it's the develop. the, I think it's the technology, maybe.
Okay, so you relate developing world with technology.
Yes.
Okay.
How to change the technology.
I I can relate developing world with a world in constant evolution or transformation.
Okay, so yes, we're talking about, in this case, I'm going to say countries that might be going to a direction of technology or transformation, as you're mentioning. Okay. What about industrialized world? What do you think?
Well, it's more complicated.
Hmm.
Mm.
I guess it's related with uh, process and operations.
Okay, so process and operation.
I mean
Um,
a world with many services.
Okay, so many services. And what were you going to say, Angela?
I don't know. I think it's like change the factories or.
Okay, yes, it is more. I mean, both have the idea, but it's also more connected to industry. So, for example, Monterrey. I'm not saying that it's an industrialized state or city. In this case, Nuevo León. But we have areas in Nuevo León, like for example, I don't remember the name of the place. Um, I mean, in I don't know if you have gone to Parque Industrial.
Uh,
Or have you seen Parque Industrial or something like that?
of Cemex or what?
Yeah, something like that. So we're talking about, as Angela is saying, like places now with factories or industries in this case. Okay.
Okay.
Mm.
And what about emerging economies?
Mm, as we have seen, um, I guess it's the countries that had a lot of potential, have,
Hmm.
have a lot of potential to be to obtain a big economy in the next years.
Okay. Yes. So we're talking about, in this case, emerging. We're talking about economies or countries that are going up. okay, with the economy and not going down. But like for example, right now with COVID-19 or coronavirus, I don't really see economies or countries emerging. I think all of them are stagnant. They're in the same place as they were before, or maybe a little bit lower. Or what do you think? Do you think right now there are countries with emerging economies or no?
Mm, I guess my answer is depends because depends of the way that the country takes to adapt to the situation.
Okay. Yes. Very good. Yeah. In this case, it will be I guess the smart one. The country that is a smart one will be the one who will know how to adapt.
Yes.
Okay. Now we have developing world. As you both said, we're talking about transformation countries. Now, in this case, do you think developing world are countries that have good economy or that they don't have good economy? What do you think?
So what
What
was
is
the
it?
question?
So, yeah. So, do you think a developing world it's talking about countries that have good economy or that they don't have good economy?
Mm, okay. I,
Um,
well, my answer is I guess this concept is considering the all the countries as a whole
Okay.
because if we are talking about the world,
Mm-hmm.
we need to consider that each country has something to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And for instance, they need to develop something to achieve that or to reach to the technology or something like that.
Okay. So yes, again, we're talking about transformation, and having to work to get that. Okay. Now, for
Yes.
example, do you think um, England or London, for example, do you think they are developing world or are they like do they have good economy? London, for example, what do you think?
Well, London, I guess they have a good economy.
Hmm. So in this case, just I'm gonna give you this information just before we actually start watching the video because you're going to see these concepts. So developing world refers to countries that are literally developing. So we're talking about countries that are poor or that they simply don't have the best economy as, for example, London, Russia, that have good economy. So in here, we're talking about who are countries who are poor and they don't have the same advantages as countries that are rich in theory. Okay.
Yes.
yeah.
Okay, so and then we know we have emerging economies. We're talking about countries that the economy is going up, and then this one we can actually connect it to industrialized world, which is, as Angela mentioned, factories and helping economy. So I'm going to ask you to do this before we actually watch the video. I want you to give me your opinion, and I'm going to ask you to do this in the Zoom chat. What do you think the TED Talk video that you're going to watch will be about? Okay, so you have developing world, emerging economies, and industrialized world. What do you think the TED Talk video will be about? Okay, and I want you to send a message in the Zoom chat, and I will read it. It's your opinion, so don't worry about correct or not. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So Javier is mentioning that it will be about world economies and how to increase them. Okay. Okay, let me see what the rest say. Okay, Angela, I think a TikTok. Okay, so now it's changing both development economies and industries for the future. Okay, yeah, both have connections. Okay, what about Roque and Eder? What do you think? Okay. Okay, yes, so Eder is mentioning how to develop country with technology, right, and prevent the fall of the or the fall or the decrease of the economy. Yes, good. All right, now just wait for Roque. One more minute, and then we'll continue. Okay, okay, in developing process. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, definitely, they will have potential to be powerful countries. Okay, good. So more or less, you guys have like the idea of what the TED Talk video will potentially be about. So we're going to continue with this, and I'm going to show you this. So I have in here, it says global population growth, box by box. What do you think, or what do you understand by this expression? Global population growth, box by box. What do you think it is? I want you to give me your opinion. So I don't know who wants to share something. What do you understand?
I don't know what did you mean with
What?
box by box. I don't understand what do you mean with box by box?
Okay. So this one, we're actually going to see it in a moment, because he is actually going to explain this. So, well, actually, let's just go to this part. Actually, who wants to help me read this paragraph?
Me,
Okay.
Hans Rowling, is a professor of international health and Karolinska Institute in Sweden. He also co-founded Doctors Without Borders Sweden. Rowling is known for the creative ways he presents information about global health and economic issues. Hans Rollins' idea word spellings that if we want to message popular wrote, we must raise the income of the world's protest billion people.
Okay. So basically, as you guys mentioned in your opinion in the chat, this is the one of the points that we're going to be watching Hans talking about in his video, and we are going to see what it means box by box. As it says in here, he normally is very creative with the way he presents the information. So he's going to be checking this, and we're going to go to the first activity. Sorry, no, before we do this, do you guys have the book? Not yet, right? Not all of you.
Not yet.
Okay.
I have it.
All right, so the ones who have the book, you can open your book on page 45. Or if not, you can actually just use the presentation that I have in here, so you can answer. Basically, what I want you to do is take a moment and answer sentences 1, 2, 3 with these words: developing world, emerging economies, and industrialized world. Okay? So take a moment. I'm gonna give you like 2 minutes for you to answer this, and then I'm going to ask you to give me the answer. Let me know when you're ready, okay? Are you ready?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so who wants to read number 1?
Hi.
Okay.
Okay. So number 1, say developed countries that are part of blank include Canada, Japan, and Germany. These countries have advanced technology and high developed economies.
Okay. So, all right, we're gonna check this in a moment. We're actually gonna check the answers. Number 2. Who can help me read number 2? If you don't have the answer, don't worry. You can just help me read, and then we're gonna check the answers.
Me. Countries such as Brazil and India have they once were part of the developing world, but I don't know, increasingly what I think is developing world.
Okay, so in here you have developing world. All right, we're gonna check in a moment. And then in here, Roque, what did you mention was the answer for number 1?
I didn't say it, but
The
my
answer.
answer is industrialized world.
Okay, so industrialized world. And number 3, who can help me read number 3?
That is a term that describes the type of economy in countries such as Haiti and Laos. These countries have low levels of technological or economic resources.
Okay, so in this case, the only option that we would have
Okay,
would
emerging.
be emerging economies. So, okay, that was my best impersonation of E. So we have industrialized world. In this case, this one, number 2, would be emerging economies. I will tell you why. And this one is developing world. So number 2 and number 3, they are, we switch the answers. So industrialized world, in this case, like Canada and Japan and Germany, they have advanced technology and developed economies. So they are at the top, right? In the economy. Yes or no? What do you think? Yes, do you understand the industrialized world?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, now number 2 says countries like Brazil and India have emerging economies. They once were part of the developing world, but now they are increasing. So, for example, Brazil and India, are they down or are they like in the middle of the economy list? What do you think?
In the middle.
Okay, so emerging economies, yes, emerging economies, we're talking about countries that are in the middle, okay? And then we have the developing world is a term that describes the type of economy in countries like Haiti and Laos. These countries have low levels of technological and economic resources. So, if I have to put from 1 to 3 in an economic list, okay, what do you think is number 1 and which one do you think is number 3 from these 3 terms?
Means the number 1 is better or is worst?
Sorry, number 1 is better.
Okay. In that case, first one is industrialized world.
Okay, so number 1 would be industrialized world.
Second one is emerging economies.
Mm-hmm.
And the last one,
Will be developing world.
yes.
Okay, so in this case, we're talking about countries that have good economy and good technology, countries that are going there, but they are still low. And then we have countries who don't have good technology and don't have good economy. Okay, now continuing from this, now we're gonna watch this. We're going to watch the video of him in 3 parts. The pages are going to be 45 and 46. We're gonna be completing some graphs or some graphics from this, okay?
Mhm.
And this is the first one. So the first part, we have to complete this diagram. During the video, you're going to listen to this: a car, industrialized, and a pair of shoes. We're gonna watch the video and you're going to decide which one represents which of these words, okay?
Okay.
All right, let me go to the software of the book. All right, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Yes.
I still remember the day in school when our teacher told us that the world population had become 3 billion people. And that was in 1960. And I'm going to talk now how world population has changed from that year and into the future. But I will not use digital technology as I've done during my first 5 TED Talks. Instead, I have progressed, and I am today launching a brand new analog teaching technology that I picked up from IKEA. This box contains 1 billion people. And our teacher told us that the industrialized world, 1960, had 1 billion people. And the developing world, she said, they had 2 billion people. And they lived away then. There was a big gap between the 1 billion in the industrialized world and the 2 billion in the developing world. The industrialized world, people were healthy, educated, rich, and they had small families. And their aspiration was to buy a car. And in 1960, all Swedes were saving to try to buy a Volvo like this. This was the economic level at which Sweden was. But in contrast to this, the developing world, far away, the aspiration of the average family there was to have food for the day. And they were saving to be able to buy a pair of shoes. There was an enormous gap in the world when I grew up. And this gap between the West and the rest has created a mindset of the world which we still use linguistically when we talk about the West and the developing world. But the world has changed, and it's overdue to upgrade that mindset and that taxonomy of the world and to understand it.
All right. Where you? Okay, let's just check the. Hold on. So in here again, we have a car, industrialized, and a pair of shoes. Were you able to get the answers from this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So in this case, we have. Let's just go first with this part, the top part. We have developing world, and in here, 1960. What is it?
Industrialized world.
Industrialized.
Okay, so I'm just
Or
gonna put it like this. All right, and then we are dividing developing world, industrialized world. So what was the aspiration for the people who lived in developing world? A car or a pair of shoes?
A pair of
purchase.
Okay, so this one I'm gonna put it here. And the industrialized world, they wanted to have a car, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so good. Now we're actually gonna continue with this. And now we're gonna have, and this one I'm going to send it to your to the WhatsApp group. Let me just send it so you can check it out. Hold on, because you're gonna have more information in this one. All right, and I'm gonna give you the options in here as well. Okay, did you receive the picture to the WhatsApp group?
No yet.
So weird. I think my internet now is not working.
No.
No? I don't know why. Oh, I think my connection is really slow today. I'm sorry. Did you get it?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. I don't know why my service is not the best. Okay, so I'm gonna show you this. I'll show you the graphic first. So the same thing, we're going to be dividing. So we have this and this. They represent 1, 2, 3 different worlds or economies or world. I want you to pay attention. And here I put the best arrangement that I could. These are the words that you're going to pay attention to and decide where they belong. Okay? Let me just go to this. All right. Ready?
Yeah.
The world has changed, and it's overdue to upgrade that mindset and that taxonomy of the world and to understand it. And that's what I'm going to show you. Because since 1960, what has happened in the world up to 2010 is that a staggering 4 billion people have been added to the world population. Just look how many. The world population has doubled since I went to school. And of course, there has been economic growth in the West. A lot of companies have happened to grow the economy, so the Western population moved over to here. And now their aspiration is not only to have a car, now they want to have a holiday on a very remote destination and they want to fly. So this is where they are today. And the most successful of the developing countries here, they have moved on, you know, and they have become emerging economies, we call them. And they are now buying cars. And what happened a month ago was that the Chinese company Geely, they acquired the Volvo company. And then finally the Swedes understood that something big had happened in the world. You know? So there they are. And the tragedy is that the 2 billion over here that is struggling for food and shoes, they are still almost as poor as they were 50 years ago. The new thing is that we have the biggest pile of billions, the 3 billions here, which are also becoming emerging economies. Because they are quite healthy, relatively well educated, and they already also have 2 to 3 children per woman, as those have. And their aspiration now is, of course, to buy a bicycle. And then later on, they would like to have a motorbike also. But this is the world we have today. No longer any gap. But the distance from the poorest here, the very poorest, to the very richest over here, is wider than ever. But there is a continuous world from walking, biking, driving, flying. There are people on all levels, and most people tend to be somewhere in the middle. This is the new world we have today in 2010.
All right. So did you get the answers from this
Uh-huh.
graphic? Or do you want to listen again?
Listen again.
All right. So we're going to go back to this, right? Let me just... Okay. There you go. You're going to start again.
The world has changed, and it's overdue to upgrade that mindset and that taxonomy of the world and to understand it. And that's what I'm going to show you. Because since 1960, what has happened in the world up to 2010 is that a staggering 4 billion people have been added to the world population. Just look how many. The world population has doubled since I went to school. And of course, there has been economic growth in the West. A lot of companies have happened to grow the economy, so the Western population moved over to here. And now their aspiration is not only to have a car, now they want to have a holiday on a very remote destination and they want to fly. So this is where they are today. And the most successful of the developing countries here, they have moved on, you know, and they have become emerging economies, we call them. And they are now buying cars. And what happened a month ago was that the Chinese company Geely, they acquired the Volvo company. And then finally the Swedes understood that something big had happened in the world. You know? So there they are. And the tragedy is that the 2 billion over here that is struggling for food and shoes, they are still almost as poor as they were 50 years ago. The new thing is that we have the biggest pile of billions, the 3 billions here, which are also becoming emerging economies. Because they are quite healthy, relatively well educated, and they already also have 2 to 3 children per woman, as those have. And their aspiration now is, of course, to buy a bicycle. And then later on, they would like to have a motorbike also. But this is the world we have today. No longer any gap. But the distance from the poorest here, the very poorest, to the very richest over here, is wider than ever. But there is a continuous world from walking, biking, driving, flying. There are people on all levels, and most people tend to be somewhere in the middle. This is the new world we have today in 2010.
Okay, is it better?
Yes.
Okay, so let me just go back to the presentation here. Okay, so in this one, again, we're gonna start with the ones that are in the top, on the top. So I think this one I gave you the answer, but what did you put here? So we have developing world, and then?
Emerging economies.
Emerging economies.
Well, I'm just gonna put this one in here. Good, emerging economies, and then this one?
Industrialized.
Industrialized.
Right. So again, we have that aspect of people who are very rich, people who are in the middle, and then people who have who are very poor. Now, they have different aspirations. One more time. The developing world. What are their aspirations?
A pair of shoes.
Pair of shoes.
Okay, so they have pair of shoes. In here, the ones that are emerging economies, they want to buy a
Bicycle.
A bicycle.
a bicycle or a car, depending. Now, the countries that are very rich and that they are industrialized world, what do they want to do?
Flight.
So they want to fly. Exactly. Now they don't want cars because they have a lot of cars. Now they actually want to have airplanes and fly. Okay. Questions with this?
No.
No.
All right. So now we are going to do watch the final part of the video. And then in here, these are the words: developing, children, and country. So the final part of the video, he's going to show us this graphic, okay? And basically what I want you to do is complete these sentences using these words. Obviously you have to pay attention to what he says, okay? He's going to talk about family, family size, and child survival, okay? Let me send you the picture to the WhatsApp group so you can have this and you can see the words. Okay, I send it to you. Let me know if you received it.
Yes.
Okay. Right, so pay attention to what he mentions, and again, I want you to pay attention to especially this term, child survival, because we're gonna talk about this. Okay. All right.
Here I have on the screen my country bubbles. Every bubble is a country, the size is population, the colors show the continent. The yellow one there is the Americas, dark blue is Africa, brown is Europe, green is Middle East, and this light blue is South Asia, that's India, and this is China, size is population. Here I have children per woman. 2 children, 4 children, 6 children, 8 children. Big families, small families. The year is 1960, and down here, child survival. The percentage of children surviving childhood up to starting school. 60%, 70%, 80%, 90%, and almost 100%, as we have today in the wealthiest and healthiest countries. Look, this is the world my teacher talked about in 1960. 1 billion Western world here, high child survival, small families, and all the rest, the rainbow of the developing countries, with very large families and poor child survival. What has happened? I start the world. Here we go. Can you see, as the year passed by, child survival is increasing. They get soap, hygiene, education, vaccination, penicillin, and then family planning. Family size is decreasing. They get up to 90% of child survival, then family is decreasing. Also the Arab countries in the Middle East is falling down there. Look, Bangladesh catching up with India. The whole emerging economy world joins the Western world with good child survival and small family size, but we still have the poorest billion. Can you see the poorest billion? Those boxes I had over here? They are still up here, and they still have a child survival of 70 to 80%, meaning that if you have 6 children born, there will be at least 4 who survive to the next generation, and the population will double in 1 generation. So the only way of really getting world population to stop is to continue to improve child survival to 90%. That's why investments by Gates Foundation, UNICEF and aid organizations, together with national government in the poorest countries, are so good. Because they are actually helping us to reach a sustainable population size of the world. We can stop at 9 billion if we do the right things. Child survival is the new green. It's only by child surviving that we will stop population growth. And will it happen? Well, I'm not an optimist. Neither am I a pessimist. I'm a very serious possibilist. It's a new category where we take emotion apart and we just work analytically with the world. It can be done. We can have a much more just world with green technology and with investments to alleviate poverty and global governance. The world can become like this. And look at the position of the Old West. Remember when this blue box was all alone, leading the world, living its own life? This will not happen. The role of the Old West in the New World is to become the foundation of the modern world. Nothing more, nothing less. But it's a very important role. Do it well and get used to it. Thank you very much.
All right. So, did you get the answers?
Yeah.
All right. So, and we're gonna check it from here, so I don't do a lot of drilling. Okay. So, like I said before, we have here. We have developing, we have children, and then we have country. So, number 1, it says each bubble. So, we're talking about these bubbles. They represent what?
A country.
A country.
So they represent a country. And then the graph, so we're talking about all of this, the graph shows that when more children survive, so we're talking about this, when more children survive, women start to have fewer
Children.
Green.
Children.
children. Yes. And then countries from the what? Developing world? Yeah.
Developing world.
So countries
Developing world.
from the developing world. All right. So I'm just gonna go back a little bit to the software of the video. Software of the video, software of the book. And I'm gonna go to this part. Okay. So remember that the name of the video was here. We had global population growth box by box. Based on what you saw and what he explained, what do you think the boxes represent? What do you think he's using the boxes for? What do they represent? Do they represent people? Do they represent materials? Do they represent money? What do you think?
Each box
Yeah.
represents 1 billion of people.
So the boxes represent 1 billion of people, as Rocky is mentioning. And we're actually gonna go to here. We're talking about people and the economic growth. And this is what we are going to be using to discuss. Hans Rosling says child survival is the new green. What do you think he means by that?
I understand it as a new tendency.
Okay.
It's a new trending.
Okay, so it's something that is trendy. What about the rest? What do you guys think? What do you think he mentions that child survival is the new green?
I think the kids are the new generation. They have a new ideas.
Okay, any ideas? All right. What about the rest? Eder and Angela, what do you think?
Like new generation for future.
Okay, so new generation for the future. Yeah. And Eder, do you have any idea?
Yes, the future.
Okay, so we're talking about the future. Yeah, overall we're talking about the future. Okay. And then part number 2 or sentence number 2, it says Rosling describes himself as a possibilist. Possibilist, sorry. What do you think possibilist is? Okay. He mentions this in the video. What do you think he means about possibilist?
I understand it as a person
Remember.
who makes some analysis and make many hypotheses related with the data that they obtain.
Okay, so you're talking about people who analyze and then like they make a lot of connections with what they see or what they have.
Yes, and try
Okay.
to make a conclusion based on these arguments.
Okay,
This
so they can be making conclusions. All right. What about the rest? What do
Based
you?
in a study.
What?
Based in the study.
Okay, so they do this
About
based on the study.
yes.
All right. And Javier and Angela, what do you think?
It's Illuminati. You don't know? Okay. What about you, Javier? What do you think?
I think this person have a different option, but I don't know.
Okay. So we're gonna watch this fragment where he says about possibilist, sorry, from the video, and then we're gonna check if what you mentioned is correct. So I want you to pay attention to, it's more or less here, I think. Yes, this one, especially in this part. Well, I'm just gonna, here it is. Pay attention to the word possibilist.
If we do the right things. Child survival is the new green. It's only by child surviving that we will stop population growth. And will it happen? Well, I'm not an optimist. Neither am I a pessimist. I'm a very serious possibilist. It's a new category where we take emotion apart and we just work analytically with the world. It can be done.
Okay, so basically in here we have the answer. He mentions, I'm not an optimist, I'm not a pessimist, I'm a very serious possibilist. And he says in here that he kind of invented the category, but as you guys said, it's basically a person who analyzes everything that is happening in the world. Okay, he does not have positive
He
emotions.
like realist,
Yeah, he pretty much is very realistic with the situation.
realistic.
Yes, so he's not positive, he's not negative, but you know what, this is what's happening, this is real. Okay, all right, questions that you have with the TED Talk video, something that you're not sure or something that you want to check before we continue with the next part? No? Okay.
What is the name of the title
Of the video?
of the video to see in YouTube?
Yeah, it should.
Global population world by box. Okay,
Yeah, grow
it's
global
interesting.
population. Yeah, it's really the videos that he has are very interesting. Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna, here it is. Okay. The last part that we're gonna do today is we're actually going to just examine some of the parts of his video. Okay. This is going to help you prepare for your presentation for next class, which is Friday. In this case, unfortunately, we are not going to be able to do it like face to face, which is the purpose of this part, but it can give you an idea, okay, because we're going to be doing this through video. And I have this number 1, number 2, number 3 before we work. I want you to please, in silence, individually, read number 1, 2, and 3. And I want you to decide, what do you understand for the blue words? Okay, so launching, what is launching? Remote, what is remote? Catching up, what is catching up? Okay, I'm gonna give you 2 minutes, do it in silence, and then we check the answers, okay?
Yes,
Okay.
I have a
Yes.
question.
Mm-hmm.
We have the questions on the book, or it's only in the screen?
It's on the screen. It's not, they are not included in the book, so you can do it from here.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna send anyways the picture to the WhatsApp group. So for now, take 2 minutes and we'll check the answers. Tell me when you finish so I can go back to the software and check the answers with you. Are you ready?
I think yes.
All right. What about the rest? Ready? All right. So let me go to the software so you can check the answers. Well, you're gonna tell me the answers and I'm gonna check them. Okay. So number one, who wants to help me read number one?
I
Okay.
or you.
You're
Okay, Uh, I am today launching a brand new analog teaching technology that I pick it up from IKEA. This box. If you're launching something, you are introducing it for the first time.
Okay. So in launching would be introducing it for the first time. Everybody agrees?
yes.
Yes.
All right. Angela, maybe you can read now number two.
Yes. Now they want to have a holiday in a very remote destination. If a place is remote, it is, I don't know if it's sure, but it's very, very far away.
Okay. Everybody agrees?
I think.
I think it's popular
Or
with tourists. I don't know.
Okay, so we're gonna check. For now, we're gonna stick with what Angela said, and then we're gonna check the answers. And number three, who wants to help me read number three?
Look, Bangladesh catching up with India. If someone is catching up with you, they are, I think, is getting close to the same position as you.
Okay, so we're gonna check the answers. Okay, so all of them are correct. So launching would be introducing it for the first time. Remote in this case is a place very far away. So it's a place that you don't know where it is, but it's really far from here. And catching up, as Javier said, is getting close to you getting close to the same position as you. Questions that you have with these words?
Not sure.
I only with catching up, I think, was getting ahead of you.
No, catching up is for example, imagine that you are in a marathon, okay, and then you are in the first place, you're running, and then you see that behind there are two people who are catching up to you. So they are getting in the same position as you are, and maybe they are going to run faster.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's very similar to that. In this case, if we connect this to what Hans was saying, it's talking about like the countries getting into almost the same position as each other. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Very good. So, okay, let me go back to this. All right, so we have this. I have this PowerPoint slide. It says using props. We saw his video. Okay. What are the props that Hans Rosling used in the video? What is the material that he used to explain his video? I mean his information.
The box.
Car
Okay. So did he use technology or no?
No.
No,
No.
right?
No.
So as you mentioned, he was using boxes, the planes, the cars, the shoes, and the bicycle, right? Now I have this. Oh, sorry. What are props? What do you want now that you told me what is the material he used? What do you think are props?
Props is like a accessory.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty much like an accessory. This is why I put this picture. So, for example, all of these things that I put in the pictures, they are props that people from movies have used. Okay, so maybe, for example, well, I think this is I'm not sure if this is something from Star Wars, but this one is from Ghostbusters. Um, they are accessories that they are using from movies. So all of these, they are props. Okay. And his props, as you mentioned, were the shoes, the boxes, the car, and the airplanes. Okay. I want you to take a moment to read this part. It says presentation skills. The skill is using props. Read this paragraph and these bullets, and I want you to tell me what are the things that Hans used in his video. Okay, so take a moment, read that part, and then I'm going to ask you which one is the one that you think he used. All right, did you finish reading the paragraph?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so if we remember his video, let me erase all of the marks that I have. So if we remember his video from here, what criteria did he use in the video? From these three, what do you think he used?
I think the first is the number 3.
Okay, so number 3 is this one, number 1.
Yes.
Okay, so for example, if you watch the video, he used boxes and cars, planes. Do you think that help you as audience to understand his point, or did you get distracted from this?
Help.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember.
To help because there are 3 forms like
Mhm.
auditive, kinesthetic, and
Mhm.
about read. For me, is more interesting.
Okay, all right. So yes, so in this case, he actually worked with that for you guys to remember the idea he was trying to explain. Okay. Now, do you think his idea by using props, like for example the boxes and everything, was interesting for the audience attention or no?
Yes, definitely.
Hmm. So it was very dynamic. It would maybe it would have been different if he would only if he had used only a PowerPoint presentation. Okay.
Mhm.
And the same thing in this one, the this question actually is maybe related to this one, but it says, is the prop, for example, the props he used, easy for everyone in the audience to see and recognize? Do you think the way he used the props was easy for everybody to see?
Um, to
Not for
recognize
everybody.
is easy, but if the room is big, um, can we have people that we can see the props?
Exactly. So in this case, if we talk about maybe how big the room is, maybe not everybody was able to see. That will, I mean, that depends on the size of the room and what you want them to see. Okay.
Yes, but maybe sometime in this, like, how do you say, scenarios or
Scenarios. Yeah.
scenarios have screens,
Okay. Yeah.
and
Yes.
for the
Uh,
people to see
I guess that in a tech talk, they will put some screens
Mm-hmm.
to people who is far from the pitch person
Uh-huh. Yes. So
uh,
yeah.
to understand, well, to see it more easy, because I guess, as Javier mentioned,
for the
it's
same.
complicated to the audience who is far away to see what, in this case, these objects,
Mm-hmm.
these props.
Yes. So yeah, as you mentioned, Roque, and as Angela was mentioning, yes, they normally have screens, big screens, for the people who are very far away to see, and it's easier because it gets their attention as well, and they don't lose that part. Okay, very good. So continuing from this, we're actually gonna do one last activity, and then that's it. So you're gonna have a discussion, and I'm going to actually separate you in breakout rooms. The discussion, you can select if it's about communication. You can think about food if you want. You can think about transportation or money if you want. And I want you to imagine you are going to give a presentation in a classroom. I'm talking about a physical classroom or at work. Okay. You can select whatever topic you have from here. And I want you to discuss with your partner the next questions. What props could you use to show the trends of the presentation? Why would you use these props? And what criteria from the tip box would the props meet? Okay. And I'm gonna give you 5 minutes. So for example, you said, you know what? I'm going to talk about food. And for food, I'm going to use pizza. I mean, a pizza. I'm going to use super salad, and then I'm going to use some tacos from El puestito de la esquina, for example. And then you're going to explain why would you use them, okay?
Okay.
All right, so let me just send you the picture to the WhatsApp group. I'm only gonna give you 5 minutes, and with this, we pretty much finish. But tell me when you receive the picture. Did you get it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'm gonna send you to the breakout room. I'm gonna give you 5 minutes, like it says in there, and you guys discuss whatever you as much as possible. Okay.
Yes,
So
I need
we
to
need
practice more.
we need to choose a
Okay.
topic. What
What
topic do you like?
I like all, but I prefer mm, communication.
Communication.
Hmm.
Okay. What
Okay.
role could we use to show the trends? There's a doubt, very big doubt. We're going to present something for the
Okay.
class.
Maybe a year or 2 year.
Okay.
Eyes, eyes, microphone, um, note,
A year. Okay, a year. A microphone.
microphone notes. Um,
The iPers, maybe.
I think this props we can use to show how how evol no how yes how evolution the the technology, because I don't know, the first cell phone is a is big, and the cell phone nowadays are
The transformation.
just,
Okay.
and we can use
Mm,
like cell phones, or like a leather. We can use a piece of paper, and nowadays a leather is a mail, but I don't know how we can show an email if it's a props. But maybe we can use the cell phones only these, only like
yeah.
friends.
Okay, yeah. Why will these props work?
And what criteria
Oh,
I think is I don't know. I think
and what?
can be
In the why?
the one.
You say the why will these props work? In the second question.
In the second question,
Yes, you say this the second question, no?
No. The first question is the answer is the
And
different
the
cell phones.
yes.
The two is to show a different media, a different type of media. And the third question, the answer is
Books.
I think is to the number 3. Will the probe help you audience remember your main area? I think
Yeah, pay attention to the center.
we
And
use the first mobile, and we talk about reference to
Small.
Yes, and
And a small room. A small
small
room.
room. Small room with comfortable.
Comfortable. A small comfortable room.
With music, slow music.
Yes. With ambient music.
Yes, like barroca music or sax music to be
Absolutely. Something that is luxury.
Yes,
Something
very
like that.
luxury. Very luxury.
Okay.
Uh,
So the microphone.
a microphone, like, uh, what else? What else? What
What
else? We
props could we use? In this case,
okay,
we have the microphone and the cell phone, and you mentioned the ear.
the ear,
An ear.
eyes, eyes,
Eyes.
on
Yes.
frequencies,
Frequency.
fre- frequencies. How to be better communication without noise. How the people understand the message,
In that case, we
and
can use
and
also
before also.
another prop that we can use is the ambient music, because we are making some noise, and we can use it
Yes,
an example.
but different kind of music.
Yes, yes.
Huh? Every decade.
Absolutely.
Oh, it's very interesting.
Okay, so
It's all
the ambient music, noise music, the noise music,
not music.
noise music.
Uh-huh.
I what a minute.
we have a question.
Is
In the
is the
presentation,
pencil
we have to talk about a movie, a movie that inspired me, and a character that inspired me. This character can be different to the movie, or can be no, or yes.
can be the same or different? I don't know.
Are you asking me?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So in this case, let me show you. Where was it?
For example, in my case, I'm talking about my favorite movie, and my favorite character is is this movie.
Okay. So yes,
Also,
in
the
this
pattern is different.
yeah. So in this case, you can talk. For example, if you have one specific movie that you say, okay, this is my favorite movie, and the movie has the favorite character as well, you can talk about both. If you only want to talk about the movie, you can only talk about the movie if you want. Or if you want to specifically talk about the character, you can talk about the character from a movie, a TV show, or a book. Or what is the question?
Yes, it is.
Mm,
You select one or two.
I am confused.
Uh-huh.
We have to talk about old topic, a favorite movie, a favorite character, a movie that inspires me, and a movie character that inspires me, or only one.
Only one. In this case, for example, let's say, you know what, my favorite movie is Harry Potter, so I'm gonna talk about Harry Potter, and that's it.
Yes.
Obviously, following the criteria. But you know what? You say, okay, so the movie Harry Potter has Hermione, for example. She is my favorite character. So maybe you can talk about both. So
Okay.
you have the favorite movie and you have the favorite character. If not, you can only select one in any of these
Mhm.
points, and you can just create the presentation on that.
Okay.
So
I did yesterday, and I did to all topic. It's about my favorite movie and my favorite character and my a movie that inspired me. I did of all.
well, I mean, if you did it, it's fine. You don't have. I mean, if it's finished, you don't have to
Me
change it. Yeah, no, it's okay. You can do it
Okay.
like that, and you present it, and that's fine. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Okay. Let me just go to the with the other group. Let's make sure if they finish, so we can finish the session today. Mm,
A capacitation.
Hello.
Hello?
How are you doing? Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Yes.
All right. So let's go back to the main session, and we're gonna finish the class. We're
Okay,
gonna have a
thank you.
short discussion and then finish
Okay.
the class.
See you.
Okay. So,
So here we are.
okay. All right. Let me just open. Oh, where is it here? And let's just wait for Javier and Angela. We can finish with this, and then we'll finish the class. All right, they're here. Okay. So before we finish the class, I would like to hear, because we're talking about props and presentations. So I would like to hear one or two examples from the things that you discussed. Who would like to share what you would use or what you would do?
Let me choose communication, and the props that we can use are the different cell phones. The first cell phone, the first iPhone, the first Samsung, and I don't know the iPhone 5. I don't know the middle,
Mhm.
and the last cell phone, iPhone 11, Samsung 10. I don't know,
For
and
a friend.
these props we can use for explain the cell phone evolution.
Okay.
And when we talk about cell phone evolution, we talk about a different type of communication, like a message, email, a code.
Okay. All right. So basically, all of the things that include that you can actually use with the also with the cell phones, I guess.
Yes. Before was the I don't know, if you want to call, you need a cell phone. If you want to write a letter, you need a paper. And nowadays, you can release all types of communication in a cell phone.
All right. Yes. Very good. Okay, that was interesting. And yes, it's. I mean, the fact that we have the different types of cell phone or the evolution of the cell phones, it is also a plus. That's good. Okay. Anybody else who wants to share another example?
Well, Eder and me decided to work together to give the best presentation of communication.
Okay.
And we decided to use a cell phone and what noise music and what else, Eder? The microphone, right?
Nice music, old microphone, a new microphone, computer, cell phone, maybe ears,
Okay.
eyes,
Yes.
frequencies.
Yes, the way that we
The way that we should what? Sorry.
shows the communication is different versus Javier,
Okay.
because the way that we show what you communicate when you are in front of people or something
Yes,
like
yes.
that. So what do you need to
Your
communicate
message.
your idea without losing your attention?
Okay. All right. So yes.
And that is why we use noise music. And we imagine that we are in the presentation and we put noise music and we want to present, and then we stop the music and we start with our presentation. Referring that communication, to have a good communication, needs to have a place that is quiet in certain fact, and then put ambient music that refers that also the music or the level or the volume is important.
Or how influence the music when you listen and you are talking in that moment in this moment. The how do you relax with music with ambient music, and it's
Okay.
better to communicate a message
Ah.
to capture the tension.
Okay. Yeah. So it is a way for them to feel attracted, let's say,
Yeah,
to the main ideas of the presentation.
yeah, and the people they don't know how influencing her body on her mind, but rock and me, yes.
Okay. All right. Very good. Okay. So those were interesting, and I think like both of you selected communication, so that was also interesting, like both teams. All right. So for now, that's it. So on Friday, this is what we're gonna do. On Friday, we are going to have the presentations. That's how we're going to start because Monday we have the quizzes. But let me just. I do want to. What are like if you have some questions maybe from what you practiced last week, any of the topics or vocabulary words, grammar that you're not sure you understood, or is everything okay from what you saw last week that you were with the other teacher?
For me, it's okay. I understand all.
Okay. What about the rest? Questions that you have?
We have to choose only one, right?
From the presentation?
Yes.
Yes, you can select one if you want.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So okay, we're gonna finish this today. On Friday, I'll be checking your presentations and just make sure that you don't have questions with grammar or anything. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. So for now, that's it, guys. Thank you so much for coming, and I'll see you on Friday.
See you.
See
Bye
you.
bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.